then I'm like, yeah, man, I'm really tired too. I stayed up really late last night. And they're like, oh, you couldn't sleep. I'm like, no, I stayed up watching the State of the Union. Did anybody,
Yeah,
not a
I know.
single one watched
I
the
know.
State of the Union.
Same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not a single one.
Welcome to Rivera and Reeves, the podcast where we break through the bias, report the news, and occasionally trip over our soapboxes while ranting about the headlines.
Every week, we tackle the biggest stories with sharp analysis, unfiltered honesty, and just enough sarcasm to keep it fun.
So pull up a chair, grab your coffee, and join us as we wade through the spin because the media is trash and we have zero patience for their nonsense.
Hey, friends, welcome back to another episode of Rivera and Reeves. I'm Meseidy. I'm here with my friend Rachel. Say hello, Rachel.
Hello, Rachel. I try to match you every time. I don't know if I really do it well, but it's.
I just feel like you're
attempt.
mocking me, is what I feel like.
Yes, yes.
Actually, I was just listening to that intro. You know what popped into my head, which we have not mentioned? And oh my gosh, I wish I could remember her name. But we had a follower send us a picture of her sweet little girl.
Yes.
In our Substack chat, and that she had made herself a t-shirt with our catchphrase from our intro. And it just like, I was listening to that and it just popped into my head, and she was so stinking cute.
Yes.
With her. I love that her craft project choice was to make herself a t-shirt of a news and politics comment. Like, good job, Mom.
She's
Good
going
job.
places. She's going places.
I was like, that was so sweet. And that was literally what I was thinking about right before that. But what are we talking about today? We're going to basically kind of do a recap. We're now in day 2 of headlines of the State of the Union. It happened on Tuesday. Today is Thursday. And we're going to give you our thoughts on the State of the Union, some highlights, some things that we think aren't being discussed that may be worth bringing to your attention. Because, you know, there's viral moments and everybody like is watching the viral moments, but there's a lot of little nuggets and Easter eggs in that 1 hour and 47-minute State of the Union.
It was long. It was
long.
Very long.
But it was jam-packed. Like it was, you know, there was a lot going on. So.
I have no problem turning something off if I'm tired, even if it's, you know, my job to be watching it. I've said before, I went to bed before the election, the 2024 election was called. Like, I am fine saying I have to tap out, but I didn't turn it off because I legitimately knew I'd missed something. He just kept going and going and going. Yeah. And I thought, okay, what's another 10 minutes? I mean, I felt it yesterday. I think I sent multiple people a meme
of you dying,
falling down, crying, and like fainting from exhaustion, but it was worth it.
Yeah, it was good. But before we get into our coverage and our thoughts on the State of the Union, if this is your first time here, welcome. You have found your new favorite podcast. Make sure you hit that follow button wherever you're listening. We're on all major podcast apps, on YouTube the next day, which, by the way, if you're used to listening to or watching our video, I literally just remembered that I forgot to upload it yesterday, or I forgot to upload it on Tuesday. So it is not missing. I forgot. I will get that up today. It literally just occurred to me. Okay. But if you don't want to have to like worry about me forgetting things and you want to ad free and you want to get it the moment I hit publish, please consider becoming a paying subscriber. There is a link in the show notes, and you will also get access to our now live unfiltered episodes, which are the last Saturday of every month at 11:30 a.m. And this Saturday, we're going to throw down, okay? Because we've been having a lot of conversations on the back channels about
we have thoughts
and feelings.
Do we want to tell them the topic to get them
I don't even look
ready?
There's a lot of stuff going on, and we typically don't do, I don't want to say like drama necessarily, because I don't think what we're going to be talking about on Saturday is drama or gossip per se. But, you know, there's a lot of things going on, especially in the political creator space. That it's just like a lot of stuff that's just being left unsaid. And we have thoughts and opinions on it, and we're going to share them. And
we don't like to leave things unsaid.
Yeah. Well,
we like them to be said.
So
we will be saying them.
Yes, we will be saying them tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. Today is Thursday, Saturday at 11:30 Eastern, live on Substack. And if you are a paying subscriber, you will have access to that and you'll get to join the conversation. If you miss out, it's okay. We will publish it for all of our paying subscribers right afterwards. Okay. So let's talk about the State of the Union. Actually, no, I wanted to do real quick. There is some little bit of news and I want to do it at the top do one of these like quick hits.
Mhm.
Cause JD Vance is headed to Wisconsin to visit a machining facility in Point Procession. Wisconsin is a swing state. Well, not a swing state, but it's like, it's in that, it can be a swing state.
It could be it's in the zone.
Yes, it's in the zone. And currently there is a representative there, Republican Derek Van Orden, who is running as the incumbent defending his seat. So the administration, they had a meeting a few weeks back. Remember, we talked about this. They are deploying their people, including JD Vance. And Orden ran against Democrat Rebecca Cook. She is running again. And the last election, she was beat by like 11 to 12,000 votes. So it was close.
Okay.
So it matters. Kushner and Witkoff are in Geneva right now, trying to negotiate a deal with Iran.
I saw they just wrapped up the talks, actually. It was a
Oh,
3-hour
really?
meeting and they wrapped
Okay.
them up. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's happening. And simultaneously, Trump was having an intelligence briefing today. He's been very quiet in the office. His appointments today are all closed door, which always makes me nervous. Then we had a little bit of drama happen off the coast of Cuba yesterday. Allegedly a speedboat was trying to retrieve some relatives off the island. The boat is reported to have been registered in Florida, so there's concerns that these were U.S. citizens.
4 people killed, 6 injured. And we don't know much more than that. Both Marco Rubio and JD Vance released statements, and both of them were basically like, this is what we know. We know what you know. And when we find out more, we will let you know.
Which I don't believe that,
Oh,
but that's
no,
what they're
but
telling
that's
us.
what they're saying. Yeah.
I'm like, I don't believe you.
Pretty sure Marco knows more. But
Speaking of not believing people, Hillary Clinton is testifying or testified today before the House Oversight Committee on Epstein, under oath, by the way. And this is the headline that came out. Hillary Clinton says she does not have any information on Epstein and doesn't believe she ever met him. I don't believe that. I mean, maybe, kind of maybe the first part, but you're going to tell me that your husband has been on multiple trips with Epstein.
And you never met him?
And you
never
met
talked
him?
about him with your
Also,
husband?
Need I remind you that his homegirl was at your daughter's wedding? Like,
It's interesting.
it's an interesting
It's
to be
sus,
like,
as the kids would say. Do they even say sus anymore? I don't think that they do. But Hillary's sus. But she's always been sus. So.
yes. And then, so John Thune says that we do not have time to debate the SAVE Act.
I heard that, but they did have time to march
have
dogs, a dog parade with dogs decorated in like Mardi Gras outfits.
Yes.
So priorities.
Yeah. So that was interesting. And in some good news, Little Punch, the monkey that everybody has been obsessed with,
Yes.
has made friends, which thank
Yay.
you, Lord, that this little monkey has made friends, because if I had to watch that monkey get beat up one more time by another bully while he
I
went
know.
running to his little stuffed animal, I was about to jump on a plane to Japan and snatch that monkey and add it to my menagerie here of animals. Okay.
It was sad. Poor Punch. I mean, great for IKEA. Their stuffed animals sold out.
But
But sad for Punch.
It was, yeah. So I
Can
just
we
wanted to
ask if they named him Punch because his mom initially punched him? Is that why they called him Punch?
I have no idea.
I mean, why else would you call? I mean, that's literally the first thing the mom did was basically like
I really hope
punch
that's
him out of
not
the way.
the
I
case.
hope that's not it. But why else would you call him Punch?
I don't know, and that just made me sad.
I'm sorry. I am sorry.
Look, I don't have a lot of feelings when it comes to like people.
Things.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. In general.
But you give me an animal that's suffering
know.
or something like
I
that, like
know.
in a movie, I'm gonna have a meltdown. Okay,
Yeah, well,
I can watch.
Punch has taken everybody in the United States on a journey.
Yeah.
He's everywhere. Punch is omnipresent. I have seen Punch more in the last couple of days than I think I've seen my own children. He's
I had to get off
place.
the internet. I was like,
I
I
know.
can't watch this monkey.
He
continue
has
to
his
get
own
harassed.
playlist on Spotify. So what is happening? We are an easily amused people.
Oh my
Let's-
gosh. Okay, so now that we got those hits done, and why won't this TV shut off? Will you please shut off? Please shut off. There we go. Jeez. It has an app to like show paintings instead of like, just a annoying screen. And so every time I hit the off button, it switches over to the paintings. I have to hold the off button and fighting with it. Anyway, okay. So enough about, I mean, we're all happy. Punch made friends. Let's talk about the State of the Union.
Let's.
Now, so 147 minutes. No, not 100. Well,
I mean,
an
might as well
hour
have been.
and 47 minutes. Longest State of the Union in modern history. That was clearly his goal. Okay. Not only because it's the greatest and the biggest, okay, of all time, ever. By the way, if you guys are watching me, you'll see
but it is literally the longest in presidential history.
But my point is that it wasn't like an accident. Okay, no. He's like, I'm gonna do the biggest and greatest and longest of all time in American history. Like that was the goal. I'm quite
surprised it wasn't 3 hours. It was being floated that it could be 3 hours, and at that point, I'm out, but pleasantly surprised it was only 2.
Also notice that he stopped at almost like a few minutes to 11, which allows the 11 o'clock news to start carrying the news. You know what I mean? It also leaves some time, which I'm a little bit surprised, for the rebuttal leading into the 11 o'clock news. So, I mean, he is stagecraft, you know. He used to be a producer for
he knows exactly what he's doing.
He's completely aware. And one of the things that I think is really interesting about this particular State of the Union, that I don't know if anybody's talked about this, because the speech I don't think was written necessarily. Obviously he has a goal, but it wasn't written for the room. And it wasn't really necessarily written for the junkies like you and I who are watching a full 2-hour long speech.
Right.
It was written more for the way information is consumed in today's day and age, where he's looking for clips and viral moments. And I think his thought process and the administration's thought process is probably like, if we get all of these things, then this is all the type of material that we can flood social media with. And they're just going to see, you know, when we brought out this person, or when he called out the Democrats, or like, it's all about more of the moments that can go on social media versus like an inspirational 30-minute speech or something.
Yeah, the State of the Union is expressly for the president to signal and tell Congress about the State of the Union, but that is not the intention of this administration for this speech in particular.
Yeah.
The Congress doesn't care what Trump has, at least half of the Congress doesn't care what Trump has to say. He could say that the State of the Union is strong and these are the reasons why, and here's 20 verifiable sources that are telling you that it's good. And they're still going to believe it's not good because they project their hate from him onto like what they perceive is happening in the country. This speech was meant to provide information, clips, and evidence for the midterms. Yeah. I firmly believe this was meant to highlight where the Democrats are at to set up, you know, the campaigns that are going to be running in 2026. And for that, it was successful.
I would say it's very successful,
in my opinion. We all know. I think that the State of the Union should be a letter and be done with. Send an email. Like, I don't think we need to do this because there's no point. It's not like the Congress is all coming together and having this unifying moment. They're just not. We're so far away from that. Yeah. So all the pageantry, which I love that about America. I still think it's a waste of time, in my opinion, for that purpose. But for what they were getting at, it delivered exactly what they wanted. In my opinion.
And it wasn't just like, okay, this just popped into my head. So it wasn't just Trump and because, you know, we're going to go through some of the policy that he touted that has passed and what he wants to happen. We're going to go through that. But also, can we I'm very curious, and I asked my husband this. Is the cameraman a communal cameraman?
Yeah, we talked about that. My daughter put that into the Dawn Dispatch this morning. She said he deserves a raise. He has to be on the Trump payroll because he was perfect.
The moment like he was talking about, I have a clip here, and this one is with the young woman who, what was her name? I can't remember off the top of my head. Sage, correct. That was gonna, she was going through social transition, and then the camera pans over to the Democrats.
Sarah McBride.
Yes, let's play that.
Their daughter was their son. Sage was thrown into an all-boys state home and suffered terribly for a long time. But today, all of that is behind them because Sage is a proud and wonderful young woman
have Sarah
with a full
McBride on. He's
scholarship
on
to
camera.
Liberty University. Sage and Michelle, please stand up.
Okay, there was also a lot of
that? What is that? What is this hand motion? I don't understand it.
It's actually funny that you mentioned that. Okay, so for those who are not watching, Sarah, when she stood up,
Sage.
Sorry, Paige. Got him backwards. Sage, when she stood up, Lord have mercy, she like took her thumb finger and her pointer finger and like applause. It was like, like you're doing like a little monster, like a little monster. That is the new. My husband did the same thing. He's like, "What is she doing?" Yeah. And unfortunately, because I am so online, I knew exactly what it was. So do you remember how like the beatniks, we would joke and it's like the snapping?
Oh my gosh.
Yes, queen. Okay. So that's like the Gen Z version of it.
What is it?
It's like an applause. It's like adamant approval. Like, absolutely. Yes. Applause. I receive that. Like,
why can't you just go like this?
Because
it's more work to do this. I feel like it's like just clap your hands together.
Because that's what the kids are doing.
I heard
now.
though that they have a term for it called clocking it. Is that, have you heard about that?
Yes, I believe that's correct. Yeah.
Why is it a clock?
I would have to research that one.
Okay. Well,
okay. And also,
at any rate, you pan to Sarah McBride, who is a man, cosplaying as a female. And do you have a clip for the other?
Which one was the other one? Oh, hold on.
When Trump said Somali pirates.
Yes. Hold on. I do have that one. Give me 1 second. Here we go.
But when it comes to the corruption that is plundering, it's plundering America. There's been no more stunning example than Minnesota, where members of the Somali community have pillaged an estimated $19 billion from the American taxpayer. Oh, we have all the information. And in actuality, the number is much higher than that. And California, Massachusetts, Maine, and many other states are even worse. This is the kind of corruption that shreds the fabric of a nation, and we are working on it like you wouldn't believe. So tonight, although started 4 months ago, I am officially announcing the war on fraud to be
I don't
led
think this
by
one's
our
it.
great Vice President J.D. Vance.
Yeah, there you go.
Hands over to, oh my gosh, I forgot her name. Omar. Ilhan Omar. I thought, let me see, is it this one?
Officials who block the removal of criminal aliens, in many cases drug lords, murderers all over our country, they're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
So those, if you can't see, those who are listening, it's Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar yelling at the president.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have it. There was this one at one point where he literally called them like Somali pirates, like
pirates.
Somali pirates, and panned over to
straight
Omar.
to Ilhan Omar. Yeah,
and she looked like she
was indignant. She was And then they left. Her and Rashida Tlaib left, I believe, right before or during the award for the 100-year-old recipient. No,
it was when it's like so many moments. It was when the Venezuelan hostage came in and was reunited with his niece for the first time after being held captive as a political prisoner.
Yeah.
But honestly, look, I'm not surprised that they left. And it doesn't matter when they would have left. They would have left at a bad time because literally every 30 to 60 seconds, it was like the Doors. Somebody else was walking out. It's like, we have hockey. We have a pilot. We have
a war veteran from the Korean War. Yes.
Like it was nonstop. stop.
It was jam-packed.
It was clearly made to create moments, not only for, I think what was interesting is because the theme was the 250th birthday of America.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had, like, for example, Nancy Pelosi, who went on to CNN, kind of complaining a little bit that it was almost too patriotic or something.
Right.
Or like, you know, like you just.
I mean, she's mad because she got called out for insider trading, but whatever.
Well, yeah, it was interesting. But this is Nancy talking about the State of the Union.
So thank you so much for joining us. You have sat through a great number of State of the Union addresses, some of them behind the president. What was your reaction to what you heard this evening?
Well, first let me say that I think that Governor Spanberger did a remarkable job just insisting on the truth, which is what we have to do when we're dealing with this president. I thought the speech was lazy. You know, it's one thing to acknowledge patriotism and people getting well and everything when you have absolutely nothing to do with their courage or the rest, but you spend an hour and a half doing it. What is the state of the nation?
Now,
what is she even saying?
The theme, though, and I think, you know, it's not surprised either that she just disagrees or she's missing it, was that the 250th birthday of America. So not only is he talking about his policy and what he wants the like the State of the Union, but he's also creating all these little moments in celebration of the 250th birthday and to reflect how great the United States of America is after 250 years. Like, that's how I interpreted it. I don't think, like, obviously he's a showman. He's like, let's just add another, you know how like Coco Chanel was like, remove an accessory before you leave.
No, he's like, add more accessories, all of the accessories.
But I think what he did all over the White House right now. Okay.
Yeah. Not only did they have their pursuit to be to create content for the midterms, to highlight just the craziness that is the Democrat Party. And I say this as someone who regularly criticizes my own party, but what they did successfully is they showed the like vast chasm between normalcy of just like loving your country, being happy and glad when good things happen, or when there's restoration, or when problems are solved, and then that being normal. And then over here, people who hate him so much and have such a vitriolic response to him that they can't even be happy for their country. And he was able to highlight that on multiple occasions during the speech so successfully that it's eye-opening. And we talk about it all the time. We see everything. We watch this, so it's kind of hard to surprise us. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. This happens all the time. The normies just don't see it because they're not perpetually like watching this kind of stuff. But I left that speech and woke up the next morning still irritated and still upset, genuinely, by the lack of respect that Democrats showed for multiple people in the chamber that deserved respect for the contribution they've made to our country, or the heartache that they've felt because of things that have happened in our country and how they're being made whole. Again, it made me upset. And he did a great job highlighting the absolute, and he said it, the absolute craziness of this party.
He literally said, these people are crazy at one point.
They have been swallowed whole by their hatred for him, that they cannot even delight in good things that are happening for the American people.
Yeah. The most viral video that was going around, and granted, it was mostly viral on the right. Like, if, you know, if your feed is right-leaning content creators, that's what you're going to see. I don't know. It's not going to cross over to the left very much. And I don't know how well, like, people who are casual consumers are going to see it. But the one that came up the most was about, where he called people to stand up in support of the United States or illegal immigrants. I have that clip here.
So tonight I'm inviting every legislator to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle. If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
All the Democrats stay seated. Not a single one has stood up. Maybe Fetterman? I
think
didn't see
Fetterman
anything.
did.
Yeah.
I think Fetterman did.
Look at his face. He's like, and it goes on and on.
I mean, it's remarkable. It really is. I think Fetterman did stand up because I heard he made a statement later, like, you should be able to stand up for a war hero, a veteran, families that are reunited. You should be able to stand up for those. Those are objectively good things for, like, no tax on tips, Black unemployment being at an all-time low. You should be happy for those things. And he said that. He's like, I'm normal, basically.
Yeah, the only thing they stood up for was the U.S. hockey team.
And some of them didn't even stand up for that.
Yeah.
So.
And maybe the two that were...
They did not stand up for I believe is an army.
Eric, are you talking about Eric
Slover?
Yeah.
Slover?
He's a
no.
night crawler. He's the helicopter that he was shot during the Venezuelan operation.
Yeah.
So, well,
no,
that particular moment, which let me tell you, if the Democrats had listened to their leadership.
Yep.
And not like, they would have stood it. Now, right now they're doing damage control and they're claiming that the reason that they didn't do it is because we're not puppets. We don't.
Nobody cares about that though. The American
Yes.
people do not care about their excuses. All they're going to see, it's the optics. It's always the optics.
There's already an ad. Did you know that?
No.
Oh yeah.
Already,
So-
but that's a fast turnaround.
Yeah. Well, it's from an organization called American Sovereignty. And this is the ad.
If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
So it's showing all Republicans standing, and then those are the Democrats. Nobody's moving. Actually, they're sleeping, some of them.
These people are crazy.
For those of you who...
Pretty solid. I mean, again, people, I was listening to some podcast yesterday. I think it was Ben Shapiro, and he was saying, you have to understand, people are not going to walk away from the State of the Union and remember your economic policy. They're just not. They are going to remember the moments and the clips that go viral. And he is a master at that. He knew exactly. He went in and that was a gamble, but he knew exactly. It wasn't on script too, is what I heard. He knew that if he pressed them, that because they hate him so much, they would not stand. And it was foolish on their end because I believe some of them did it because they were afraid of the backlash that they would get from their fellow Democrats. But I believe that a majority of them actually are just like, we are fine with illegal immigration. What are you talking about?
Well, because they think it comes, this is the thing. And this is, you know, I hate to annoy people and be devil's advocate here or whatever. But a part of it too is because they think that it's an emotional response
think
and
it's
it's altruistic and that he is doing it because it's all rooted in racism.
Well, and he hates all of the S-hole countries that he's talked about before.
Even though he opened the State of the Union with a direct acknowledgement of how immigrants have come into the United States legally, welcoming people to come into the United States legally, but they do not understand and they conflate any, like the amount of times that they just say like anyone who is here as an immigrant must be illegal,
right?
Or deserves the same protections as an illegal, like it's just insane to me. Like that big you can't separate the two.
Oh yeah. No, big influencers right now, especially on Instagram, are doing the whole, I have to believe they're smarter than this, but then again,
I think
I've been proven so wrong assuming people are smart lately in the last like 5 years.
I say that all the time to my husband.
I want to give people the benefit of the doubt. My husband is like, why? But we've got a lot of people, influencers, progressive, left-leaning, influencers who are doing the whole, we're a nation of immigrants, and the people who always ostracized and demonized immigrants, they're always on the wrong side of history, and you're on the wrong side of history now. And I'm like, what are you talking about? We had such a strict immigration policy for many, many years in our country, and for good reason. It's not immigrants we have a problem with. Come to our country. Come here. because you know that America is the best country
Yes, but
in the
it's
whole
too
world.
hard and too expensive to come here. So
It is hard and it is expensive.
We should
because
just
it's a
eliminate
privilege.
immigration policy altogether. Is the
You
thing.
want to know who is like staunch about immigration policy? My Chinese mother-in-law, who did it the right way. And it was hard. And she faced racism, and it was difficult, and it was an arduous process. And she's like, yeah, and everybody else should have to do that. And that's the whole point. But these people who are like acting like all of the millions of people who flooded into our country are these sweet, like, you know, Irish immigrants who are coming over during a famine. No, it's not that. Stop. They're trying to relive a time in history that no longer exists. That is not what the immigration process is anymore, or our lack of immigration process under Biden.
So what I'm curious about is that, okay, that's the first ad that I've seen so far.
That's
they
a great
grabbed
ad.
onto it.
Mhm.
American sovereignty, they're much more focused on immigration issues in general. So I'm not surprised that they grabbed onto it as soon as they could. But James Blair, for example, who is one of the, he's the deputy chief of staff of the White House and one of the leaders of the, what is the political strategy for the administration for the midterms. He's like, look, we've dealt with immigration. Immigration is no longer an issue in the sense of immigration is not going to win us an election. Now, I think that ad is good in the sense of a reminder that if power were to flip again,
what you could go back to.
Correct. So I think, and it's also a reminder of how maybe it triggers thoughts of well, if you're going to be this way and not prioritize Americans compared to illegals, then how are you going to prioritize our interests at all in any relation?
Right. No, but they needed those whiz bang moments for things like the economy. They needed those viral moments when it comes to things that people are feeling really pressed on right now.
So speaking of the economy, because I wanted to move into policy, there was some debate because you know how they're fact checking, Trump is a liar, everything like that.
Yeah.
Now, look, every politician, because politicians are going to politician, okay, will round up a number or not include context or something like that. So I want to talk about what was the state of the economy and where we're at. So Democrats inherited, they really created inflation hangover is how I would categorize it, because many times, so the president will say, I inherited the worst inflation situation, the worst economy in ages of all time. And Biden did the same thing. Okay. Yes. Now, what a lot of news outlets will say is, well, that's not true because when he came into office, inflation was at 3%. I'm like, well, inflation started to come down significantly at the very tail end of Biden's administration when it reached a high and a peak of 9%. Now, also, let me remind you that the Fed started to cut rates. There was a lot of finagling to help the administration leading up to the election that brought it down to 3%. Yeah. Reminder, the likelihood that they would push inflation back up would be pretty high.
Yeah.
So it peaked at 9.1% in June of 2022. And by the time the president came in January, it was at 3%. Inflation currently is sitting at 2.4%, which is an 8-month low. Real wages are up $1,400 in Trump's first year. Gas prices are down 7.5% year over year. Egg prices are also down 34% year over year, which is he loves to talk about eggs. I'm surprised he didn't talk about bacon. Prescription drug prices have fallen. Mortgage costs are down nearly $5,000 annually. Rents are also down. And why are rents down? And why maybe are wages going up? I think the immigration issue might play a part in that. Okay.
I feel like they should have highlighted that better. I left that speech going, I got what they were doing. I saw it. I understood. But I didn't feel like it was policy heavy enough. He said things and that's fine. And I agree, but there wasn't a clear vision for the next 3 years. I wanted to know.
And he shared stuff because I'm going to talk about that. But the problem is, it's like the Coco Chanel issue. You know what I mean? You need to talk to Coco. Okay. I know she's passed, but Like, take some
Trim it
advice.
down. Yeah.
Trim it
Pick
down.
like 3 things that you want to major on and really
Well,
go hard on
because
those.
that's what happens. It's like so much information because and I get it. It's because he's trying to create moments for the way people now consume the news, which is social media, commentary, and that sort of thing. But also at the same time, like, the economy is a big issue right now.
Yes.
Immigration is no longer it. It's the economy, it's affordability. And there's some clear wins that have happened. GDP is at 3.8% in the second quarter, 4.4% in the third quarter of 2025. Like, we have signs. My husband, he used to do he used to be in the transportation industry, where, like, long haul transportation. And so one of the markers in regards to whether the economy is on the upswing and improving is, for example, when these trucks start to turn away loads. Because there's so much demand that they know that they have the opportunity for a better load if they if they reject a less desirable load.
Yeah.
And, like, that has increased significantly right now. And that's, like, one of the first markers, because that is businesses producing, that is more investment in, like, business infrastructure, because that's the significant difference too.
Yes.
Is that this administration has expanded employment significantly in the private sector versus in the government sector. The government is, like, fallen because hello Doge, and the private sector has increased significantly. So there are good signs, but I don't know, the reports are that the Republicans who have to move into the midterms, they feel like they got some really good nuggets out of this.
Yeah.
So, but time will tell on whether or not that's actually what happened. What did stand out, though, which I thought was really interesting, is, like, when you mentioned the tax bill, or no tax on tips, for example, that I'm gonna let the president share it or tell us about it.
Democrats, every single one of them, voted against these really important and very necessary massive tax cuts.
And they're standing up and applauding.
Yep.
Large scale
The Democrats
increases to hurt the people instead. But we held strong, and with
Chuck
the
Schumer.
great, big, beautiful bill, we gave you no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors.
And now the Republicans are applauding and standing. Now, this is all theatrics, obviously. But it tells you that now the Democrats are going to say, well, it was because the tax cuts for the millionaires and billionaires. But there's been plenty. Actually, he brought in, a family. I think that her husband, I think, is a long haul driver. She was a waitress, and she's had an increase of, like, $5,000 annually or something like that because of the no tax on tips. That's huge.
I also think, as a parent, they should talk a little bit more about the Trump accounts.
Yes.
I don't think people seem to understand how much and the very, like, philanthropic donation from the Dell family. That's, like, one of the biggest.
Well, and it's not just the Dell family.
No, I know, but theirs alone, though, is
Yeah.
one of the largest donations, like, in American history for this type of thing. It was huge. And looking at the Trump accounts, if you have a child, like, if I was to get Meg one right now and I was to put into it, I believe it's $1,000 a year, or was it $5,000?
So what it is that it's a universal, and so the Trump accounts currently are just for children.
Yes.
Right? Where the government, in a certain age group, if you were born after a certain date,
it was 2025 to 2028 for them to also match,
for the government to do $1,000.
But I can open them for any of my daughters. My oldest turns 18 tomorrow, and
and it's not just
no Trump
that.
account for you. You don't get one. Sorry,
it's not that you can open one. Anybody can open one, but anybody then can contribute to that account.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, if I had a family member who opened one for, like, a niece or a nephew or something like that, and I wanted to contribute to it, I could. anyone, and that's how the Dell family has done this mass contribution, because they've given, I can't even remember the amount, but it was like $20 million or something like that.
It's insane.
It was a huge amount of money, and that they are to put into these Trump accounts.
Yeah.
Now, what the president has also proposed is that the Trump accounts extend out to universal retirement savings accounts for workers without an employer match.
Yeah.
So like if you have an employer, you don't have 401k or something along those lines, that you could do a Trump account, and that $1,000 federal matching funds would start that account.
Yeah.
I don't know if necessarily that's something that I'm okay with, like children. I'm not sure.
I'm not huge with the government giving away money to adults. I'm just not.
Yeah.
But the kid thing, even if the government doesn't give any money into the Trump account if you are contributing some money every year into those accounts, the compounded interest, it's wild how much you can be left with at the age of 18 if they cash out at that time. And people just, I don't know. I think it's not being reported.
Well, there's a lot of problem. I mean, even the Trump RX isn't, and if it is reported, it's like it's either not reported or it's dismissed.
Well, yeah, and everybody kind of just brushes it off because it has Trump's name on it. So it's all a moneymaker for him or for the administration. It's like, no, this is actually a net good for a lot of people in our country. And I don't know if the administration's been doing a good enough job kind of messaging that out, especially in my opinion, the Trump accounts, because I've looked into it and it's really cool, actually.
Well, there was a few things that he called for Congress to codify. So an EO already signed banning companies owning 100+ single family homes from buying more. He wants Congress to make that permanent. The Trump RX accounts right now is the most favored nation pricing, ties U.S. prices to the lowest paid globally. And so he wants that codified. He's also calling for the stock trading ban, which was actually probably like the only thing that Democrats
It was a bipartisan thing. Yeah. And Elizabeth Warren like jumped out of her seat to clap.
And at one point the camera got on her face. She's like, it's a good idea. She's like, it's a good idea.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay.
And then it panned to like Nancy Pelosi, who
no,
like
it didn't. But I didn't see Nancy Pelosi, but he goes, did Nancy Pelosi stand up? I doubt it.
I doubt it. No, it panned to her at some point, at least the coverage I was watching, because I saw her face and I was like, she looks so
annoyed.
She looks deflated. She looks tired. Yeah,
and
she
then
does.
Another thing that he announced, which I thought was really interesting, which has been done, but it doesn't require legislation because it's done, I think, through like department policy, is that data centers are now going to be required to build their own power plants to power them.
So it won't take electricity or drive up costs for people in the surrounding areas, which, thank you, living in Virginia, I'm like, great.
Yeah.
I think that's a great move.
So tech companies building AI infrastructure agreed to pay higher utility rates to protect consumers. It doesn't require legislation. This is just a deal. So it's really good. And then he did his most pie in the sky where he loves his tariffs. Tariffs. We've talked about it.
We have,
but he is proposing that his dream is that eventually tariffs will take place of federal income tax. Okay.
Well, they did at one point.
They did. And look, I actually don't think it's a wild idea because if you really think about it, it would be a lot more of a fair distribution of tax than if it was like income tax, because it would be more dependent on consumption as opposed to income, which means
it would
more
require
control.
Everything goes back to like we don't have a balanced budget, and so like all of this stuff is such a mess. But I don't think people who have never picked up a history book realize that we survived on tariffs as our revenue for a really long time, and now we're just taxed up the wazoo all the time on everything, and people can't like transition their mind out of that. They're like, oh yeah, property tax, fine. No, income tax, okay, fine. No, like this is one time where I'm like, let's talk about tariffs, Trump. And I wasn't the hugest fan of like Liberation Day and all that stuff, but he's onto something here. So
I mean, if that were the ultimate, here's the thing, is that I don't know if it's a feasible thing. Like I get the idea, and I don't think ideally it's the most insane thing. But how many times have we ever seen anything that has been proposed through legislation or by Congress or something that changes?
Right, that
and then it
dismantled
gets-
something that we've done for like 50,
like we're still
60,
trying to get
100
rid
years.
of the Department of Education, and
Yeah.
they won't give up on the ACA, which is a literal policy piece of trash.
Yeah. Well, and the Department of Education is as well. And we still can't get rid of it. And it has only failed since it's open. And people are like, let's still keep it around.
Yeah.
It's
so
like,
I don't
no.
know if tariffs being
I know. I'm just saying it's not a horrible idea. It's just foreign to so many people. So they're like, oh, that guy's crazy. You know? It's like, well, no.
Oh my gosh. So, but there were like a lot of moments. Did you have like one particular, like, and I mean like guest moment that you really liked or that stood out to you?
I mean, my patriotic heart loved it when the soldier who fought in the Korean War was honored.
That
of course,
his story.
It's wild. It's wild, and that you don't and to think about how many other stories there are like that we'll never hear about. I was impressed by the soldier who was recognized, like we spoke about at the top, for his part he played in Operation
Slover?
Hammer. Yes.
Yeah.
But what I was really impressed by, of course, I'm impressed the most by him and his service to our country. I was really impressed by the fact that there were no leaks about that happening. No one knew that he was actually going to be awarded that medal. Like no leaks, nothing. He didn't know no one knew. And that wasn't leaked to the press ahead of time. And then the fact that he has served so much. I learned that the armbands, like
he has several bars down his hand.
And they all represent like active, like 6 months of active time he has spent in a combat zone. These people have dedicated their lives to serving our country. They have undergone so much pain. They probably are carrying demons with them that we will never understand. And they do it for us to be able to sit around, talk on a podcast, and for all these Democrats to sit on their hands. You know, that's the beauty of America. Like we have the freedom.
Can we like give a minute for his wife that was there?
Did you see her just staring at him?
Yes.
She was like in love. Like find yourself someone who looks at you like she looked at him. She was just, I mean, how could you not live in admiration for the service he has given, the sacrifice that they both have given for our country?
And he was there with a walker. He was still injured. He was, I think he took like 5 shots. He still managed after being shot to maneuver and handle the helicopter before he had to hand it over to another pilot.
These people are otherworldly.
Because he was about to pass out.
Yeah.
Like, what? And the guy looks like the next iteration of like the Terminator or something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
and the thing is, like, there are so many others like him that we are not going to hear about, that are not going to be recognized, because you just can't recognize all of the heroes that do stuff like this. I also was pretty moved by Irina Zaruzka's parents being there. Oh my
gosh.
And the mother, again, with the Democrats sitting when she was recognized. Get out of here. Just get out. Get out. I can't believe I pay your salary.
And the little girl too.
That was moving.
Dahlia Coleman. She was the one. So that one, they're claiming that they didn't want because I couldn't look. I even had this like exchange on social media because I was so irritated by this person, this individual. I'm looking to see what it was that I wrote, but it was the video of the father when he stands up to hold the little girl.
Yes.
Because Trump has proposed and he's calling for Congress to do a national ban on issuing, which is an insane thing that you have to do this.
Right.
Issuing CDL licenses to illegal immigrants who cannot even speak the language and can hardly read.
Why is this
English.
Controversial?
I don't even understand.
Questions I ask myself.
So this person he's a left-wing creator, Evan Loves Wolf or whatever, said, sorry, but if you're using your daughter's injury to push a racist narrative, you're a bad person.
No, sorry. Nope.
Yeah. I replied, which I'm sharing this because it's gotten some pretty good responses.
Mhm.
It says, yes, how dare a Latino dad, because he's Latino, okay, whose little girl can't walk or talk anymore because California handed a CDL to an unlicensed, non-English speaking illegal alien driver, dare to want safer roads. Truly the height of racism. Caring more about his permanently injured 5-year-old than protecting the sacred rights of an illegal immigrant to operate an 80,000-pound death
How
machine.
dare that father?
Like the
Get out.
audacity. The audacity.
That's just it. It is remarkable how much they hate anything good that the president could propose because they hate him so deeply. They're bought and paid for. They're just shilling. It's really sad.
And then like the Democrats were just I mean, besides the fact that they sat, the only, like, you think about like all the guests that Trump brought,
Mm-hmm.
and then the guests that the Democrats brought, which were the Epstein victims,
Mm-hmm.
one of which apparently the one that Ro Khanna brought,
Mm-hmm.
has like she has acknowledged that she at some point transferred over to sourcing young women for
the
Epstein.
trafficking side of it. Yeah.
So it's like
It's interesting. It's ironic to me too that someone like Ro Khanna is sitting there and, wasting all of not wasting, but using a lot of energy to defend some of these women who have questionable participation in this, talking about how we need to care for women. We need to make sure that these children were protected. They weren't protected, so now justice needs to be brought down. But he couldn't bother to stand up for a girl who was essentially going to be kidnapped from her parents because school administrators decided to go behind their backs. Like, what about that girl? What about protecting her from malicious intent by adults? Like, it's silliness. It's not consistent.
I don't know. Even Irina Zaruzka's mother, when she's there crying.
Yeah.
So the president apparently, which I may have missed this, but apparently when he was describing the incident and the person that attacked Irina, referenced them as someone that entered the country illegally, which is not true.
No,
if he did say that, he was not someone that entered the country illegally.
Right.
He was someone that was released on multiple occasions
by a bot made for a judge. Like, let's just be honest.
So after there had been guidance from the, I think, Democrat mayor, if I'm not mistaken, about like, let's just like reassess the bail situation.
Yeah.
And he was, I think there was like, what, like 12 mugshots of this guy, maybe more, 16.
He'd been arrested like dozens of times though.
So, but then they'll say like, well, we can't because the premise of it is rooted in some kind of racism.
No, it's not. I'd say the same thing if he was white. I don't care.
No,
he could be purple or green. I don't care.
Giving you the
I know.
excuse.
I know.
This is their excuse. So, okay, here's a big question though. I want to know what you think. So overall, I think, because we talked about like, this is what the president needs to do with the speech. Because this is the situation and this is the kickoff for the midterms. And we were like, the economy needed to be one.
Yeah.
And also staying focused, which I think honestly, he stayed on for the most part. I think the only one that he really went off on, which was actually really funny, was when he introduced the hockey team.
Yeah, he was excited.
Where he was like, do I have that? I don't think I have when he was introducing them. Because I think he was like, we're so tired of winning.
Yeah.
They're like, please, let's stop winning.
He did go a little bit off message there, but he stayed on pretty. He didn't Trump as much as I thought he was going to Trump.
Yeah.
He didn't.
He didn't like rabbit trail too much. He didn't, he went off a little bit, but I think he went off at good opportunities where he was like, let's be honest, it's kind of turning into like the British Parliament a little bit.
Okay, and I have an opinion about that. And I've said it before multiple times on Instagram, and I think even here. I am all for that. I actually like that part about the English Parliament. Of course, the whole point of the State of the Union is it's supposed to be a unifying like situation, but that's gone. Those days are over. So I think I've always thought it was kind of fun if people get heckled. Like, we have to hold it back to a certain extent, so the person delivering the message can actually deliver the message, but he has the microphone, so he can just keep going. I like a little bit of heckling. I like a little bit of back and forth. I don't mind it. I've always kind of enjoyed watching British Parliament fight, you know?
I mean, I don't mind so much a little bit of the heckling, but some of it like goes over. Like Al Green got ejected again. Second time.
I mean, it's silly.
Because of his,
silly.
He had like a poster that said black people aren't apes. I'm like, okay, bro. All right.
Yeah.
Like,
whatever. Yeah.
And then Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar yelling back and forth, which I'm pretty sure that Hakeem Jeffries is like, which to me is clear that they have like no respect whatsoever for the leadership.
No.
And then there was like another instance where, which actually didn't get play on TV, but there was a woman that had been pulled from a car during the immigration situation in Minneapolis, and that she was like, I'm disabled. It turns out that she's like has autism or something like that. She was pulled out of the car. Like the officers are supposed to know that she has autism, and when you scream, I'm disabled, they're supposed to believe you.
Yeah.
But she was there as a guest, and she has testified before Congress about the Minneapolis situation. Look, she is a rabid activist. I've looked into her. I can't remember the name. So apparently she remained standing the entire time, and the Capitol Police kept telling her, can you please sit down because you're disrupting the view of those around you. She refused, and she was ejected also.
It's all silly. It's a performance. It's a performance. I think that there should be some kind of
oh, and the other one is Rashida Tlaib. Did you see that she was chanting KKK instead of USA? Yeah, that was the other one I was trying to remember.
What a patriot. She loves this country so much. I think there should be some kind of guideline for like the gals wearing the F ice, but it actually like spells it out. Like I don't think that stuff should be allowed on the floor. I think it's gross. I think it's demeaning for the office. I think it's juvenile, disrespectful, that kind of stuff. But I'm all for a little, friendly heckling. Yeah, why not?
I thought it was funny too, because the Democrat women did every year, I saw somebody do a post, and every year the Democrats have done something with their clothes. So like during the George Floyd.
What did they do this year?
They were all dressed in white again.
They did that last year. Boring.
No, last year it was pink.
Why?
I don't even remember. And then like.
I know they do white for like Sister Suffragette, right?
Yes.
It's supposed to, okay.
Yes, which now it's supposed to be.
Oh, because they're taking away women's rights to vote.
Of the SAVE Act.
Got it.
Exactly.
Got it.
Which one of the articles said like women and also LGBTQ plus whatever.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay. And then one year they were all wearing like, I don't remember the appropriate term, but it's the African like scarf that they wore.
Oh, a calf.
No, you're going to get it wrong. So, because I'm going to get it wrong. But the point is that they wore that during the George Floyd era too.
Yeah,
so
when they had the.
It's always something. They're always like some kind of performance to create like a distraction or whatever.
I do. Optics wise, I was wondering when, the image of Trump with Vance and Johnson behind him, did they color coordinate their ties? It was like red, white, and blue. Except for Johnson's was like a beige.
Yeah.
But it was very like American flag to me. I was like, I wonder if they talked about it. They had a little bro meeting and they're like, okay, you wear the red tie. I've got a really nice blue Brooks Brothers tie I'll wear. Wondered about that.
So, but do you think that there was enough material in this State of the Union? Because now like, okay, cool. You did the State of the Union. Midterms have launched, right? Now, the Republicans have to do something with this. They have to continue the message. They have to start promoting the Trump accounts. They have to promote Trump RX. They have to, push like right now, like the SAVE Act. He called for the SAVE Act and Thune is avoiding it because it's, the stock trade situation too. Like it's Republicans that are also avoiding that. It's not just Democrats, even though it's a pretty bipartisan supported thing. But like, it has to be like, we have moments, we have messaging, and now, I mean, it looks like to me that they're going to try and push that ball forward. You have Vance headed to Wisconsin. Yeah. You have this ad coming out. Like it's going to be interesting.
I think that it served its purpose for sure for messaging for one line of thinking, which I think that they are going to run with. I think after, for instance, the Super Bowl, and then with the hockey team, and then with the spectacle of the State of the Union. I think that they have a lot of great content for the Democrats don't love America. They are not patriotic people. I think they have plenty of content for that messaging. And I think that they're really going to run with that. And I don't know if the State of the Union gave them enough sound bites, clips, to
of like the successes of
to
the
offer
Republicans.
enough economic wins. Although there are those, I think that they're going to have to get clever and start messaging that out really hard on their own and in different states and in different races in different ways. I don't know. I think that it served its purpose to highlight less about what Republicans have done and more about how little Democrats care about anything other than being partisan. And
I think it's like a hard thing to do. It's a hard line to walk because like for the most part, he did acknowledge, look, things are improving.
Yes.
And we're trying, like, give us some more time.
Give us some time. Yeah.
He did say, look, we're in the golden age, or we're entering the golden, like, I know, I get it. You like to use that term in the immediate reaction dials. If you watch that type of stuff, when he would say like the golden age, it would go down. But then when they would hear about the successes that the administration has accomplished, they would go up.
Because there are verifiable successes for sure. And they need to major on those in their talking points in different things, get away a little bit from if Republicans were just always be normal, just be normal about everything in all
and
of
remember
and remind them how abnormal and crazy Democrats are being. That will win you so much more in all your stump speeches and all of your campaign rhetoric, all of it. Get rid of all of the partisan talking points you had for the last election, which worked.
Yes.
And start talking about very, very normal kitchen table stuff. No more attacks on this person for having a pronoun. Just don't. I mean, we all know it's nuts. We've seen it. We've watched it. And we watched it the other night again. Be normal.
Yeah.
And you will win. Be normal and talk about the things that you're going to do to make it normal again in America.
Well, speaking of a reaction after the State of the Union, here is a CNN report on it. And there's a lot of little polls out there, but this is the one that got what surprised CNN, actually.
Yes, they were frustrated to have to say this.
Especially.
Yeah, I love it so much.
And look at the growth President Trump made over the speech. So pre-speech, it was 54% of speech watchers said his policies will move the U.S. in the right direction. After the speech, that number goes up 10 percentage points. So Donald Trump made some progress with people watching the speech from their pre-speech expectations to what they saw in the speech itself. And that 64% number, that's pretty much in range across all of his State of the Union addresses. In his first term, last year, the joint session, that's about what we've seen. Is roughly two-thirds have walked away from his speeches thinking he's going to move it in the right direction.
So a lot of red meat for the base.
Yeah.
No
doubt about
so
that.
dumb.
If you're a Republican on the ballot in 2026,
that's the way you dismiss
I think you leave this speech being as happy as you could possibly be that he sort of stuck to the script on the economy. He gave red meat to the base on immigration, and they can leave the hall tonight and sort of take that out on the campaign trail.
It's not red meat for, I don't understand that.
Well,
I mean, I
have a thought,
he has to
though.
deflect.
Yeah, but I have a thought specifically because here's the deal. Midterms are not the election that drive out. Actually, I would say they don't drive out the many normies. Like most people, unless you are into politics, the midterms tend to not pull out as many people as you do during general elections, especially for president. So what you have to focus on during the midterms is to get your base animated and get them out to vote and to get more of your base out than the Democrats do, or vice versa, depending on who you're going for.
Yeah.
And then like carry some of the independents, the active independents over too.
Yeah.
And I think in that sense, this was success. Like it did well. And it was, and clearly like the people who watched the speech, if you are watching this speech, like I went to my Bible study last night And everybody's like, oh, I woke up early. And then I'm like, yeah, man, I'm really tired too. I stayed up really late last night. And they're like, oh, you couldn't sleep. I'm like, no, I stayed up watching the State of the Union. Did anybody? Not a single one watched the State of the Union.
Same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not a single one. Okay.
Yep.
I'm the only one with the sickness in the group. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I had a girlfriend who, bless her heart, I love her so much. She was like, somebody made a reference to the Daily Wire. She didn't even know what the Daily Wire was. And I'm like,
what is happening?
I am so glad that is your existence.
For you.
Yeah. For you.
I am happy. Good for you, not for me.
Yes, so good.
What they need to do moving forward, again, be normal. Just be normal. Talk about things that adults in the 1960s wanted to hear about, or 1970s, like 80s, like they want to hear about affordability. They want to hear, or even just the 90s, like just be normal. Don't think about the last decade. I'm saying throw that out. But what else they need to be doing is saying, in as much as they talk about what good the Republicans are going to offer when elected to office, they need to be talking about what will happen and like the retroactive pain that will happen if they put Democrats back in office.
Yes.
They need to be messaging, look, we are working hard. We may not be exactly where we want to be, but we're getting there. But if you elect a Democrat Congress, this is where they'll return you to, and start listing off the stuff that was happening that people forget. I'm hearing all of these influencers talk about how great life was under Biden. I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah. But I'm telling you, people have short memories and they're extremely partisan. So what you need to remind them of are verifiable facts that actually they were living in, that they've now like memory hold because they hate Trump so much, or they're just not huge Trump fans. But they could come around to the idea of maybe voting for their Republican representative.
Yeah.
If they're reminded, okay, 3 years ago, this is what was happening. This is how much gas was. This is how much grocery bills were. This is what the mortgage rates were, which just fell today, by the way. So I think that they need to do both of those things. Just be normal and then message that we don't want to go backwards. It was not great under Biden. I don't care who you were.
I know. And it makes me nervous because I feel like the attention span right now, because of the way that we consume information and social media.
We're killing ourselves. We're numbing our brains for sure.
And like, it's like they can't, like there are people that can't see past like the moment that we're in.
Right.
And like, we need to
revisit
long-term.
Yes. Write these, get a journal.
Remembering, let's play I want to talk about Kamala Harris real quick before I wrap us up, because she's running. Okay.
Great. This is the gift that keeps on giving.
Okay. Let me play the clip.
Will you run again?
I haven't decided.
You're still thinking about it?
I might.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I've been saying. That's what I closed the book and I'm like, oh, she wants to. She's just thinking about it. If that was my impression. I don't know if that's what you intended, but that was my impression.
No, the book is about a specific period in time. There was no agenda beyond what we've discussed already, which is just sharing with people.
So that is Kamala Harris with Sharon, what's her last name? I forget. McMahon, which is Sharon Says So. That was earlier this week. Then Kamala Harris has also yesterday gone on Aaron Paranis's podcast. He is also a left-wing independent journalist creator, which I roll my eyes because he was interviewed by Tara McGowan, who is the one that's dating Senator Chris Murphy. And she's like a political operative with Courier News and stuff. Yes. And she asked Aaron Paranis, like, how does he stay, what's the word that she used? Objective. And I'm like,
right. Yes, sure.
I laugh so hard.
Just like Sharon is unbiased. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
For sure.
But I think Kamala is dipping her toes into friendly waters.
She's feeling it out. I think she's feeling it out. Yeah.
And I think she did not run for governor. She is getting reports of delusional polls that she is ranking number one as a potential candidate for the Democrat Party to run for president. And I say delusional polls because when you look at the list, she's the one with the most. Is she polling
even higher than Gavin?
Yes, but I think it's because she has the most name recognition. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do understand what you're saying. I just don't see how the Democrat Party will get behind this at all. They won't. They can't.
Well, here's the deal. This is what's so interesting, okay? Because like, if you want to get nerdy into politics, the DNC had a post-mortem report done after Kamala lost the election, okay? Ken Martin, who is the head of the DNC, has refused to put out this post-mortem. Okay, the agreement was we're going to do it. We're going to learn our lesson. We're going to put it out. We're going to evaluate it. We're going to be honest, and we're going to make sure that we don't make the same mistakes again.
Yeah.
Well, they're not putting it out. Why are they not putting it out? Because they're doing Kamala Harris a favor because it probably is really bad for her.
I know. And again, the DNC cannot afford to do this again. They will not put their money behind her. If they do, that is party suicide.
My point is that I think they will, or they expect to, maybe possibly, because otherwise, if you wanted to get rid of her and put her presidency like to it in its grave, you would release that study. You would release that postmortem. Okay.
Then
and
what's
they're
the
not
end goal
doing
here?
it.
They are so afraid. They say JD Vance is worse than Trump.
Like,
what is?
Are you kidding me? Or do you think the Democrats are going to be like, you know,
they're out of touch. They're out of touch. They don't know.
The first possible female candidate, and not like female candidate, she was the candidate, but the first female president and a woman of color. You think they're going to like put her out to pasture? There's no
the only reason I could see them rationalizing this is that they're going to push so hard, and they already are. I mean, they have been. They're going to push so hard into the fear and hatred that they have convinced America is necessary when dealing with Trump. And they're just going to be like, look, we have to.
Well, and they're priming people for JD Vance too.
Yeah, who's going to be even worse, who's even more of a Nazi, who is like, you know, probably actually related to Hitler. This is
who
what
has a family and is now having his fourth child. And
so he likes children. He's the worst
natalist
of
ever.
all time. And so they are going to push hard then into, you need to actually be afraid of Trump and the GOP and any Republican candidate they put forward. Therefore, you must elect Kamala. She knows what she's doing. She's been in the office.
And
I guess.
You know,
I just think it's so weird.
Yeah, but you asked about Gavin, and I'm not even 100% sure over the last few days if I think he's been testing to see if he should run, but I don't know if he's going to run.
What if he runs as her VP?
Maybe, but I don't even know if that's wise, because then you would have 2 Californians on the ballot. And that's not going to get
California
elected.
is like the Democrat bastion of the world.
Yeah, but the rest of the country isn't going to want 2 Democrats on the ballot like that. The whole point, half the time, the reason a VP is chosen is to balance out the craziness or the extreme or whatever people might perceive of
but
the
I don't think
presidential
that they
candidate.
I don't think that they think of California as crazy anymore. They think of it as like a beacon of what Democrat America could look like. I don't know.
The
honestly,
reports is that Newsom has young children, teenagers, especially his son, and that there are reports right now that the son, especially who's in his teens, like doesn't want his dad to run for president because it'll limit his access to his father. Like it'll change their life significantly. And he had that whole thing, which I haven't even talked about or shared, but is freaking hilarious. He was speaking at some event in Atlanta where he talked about how he had a SAT of like 960 and that he couldn't read a speech. And then there's the report that it was because he's dyslexic and stuff.
That
meme
that wasn't a good move.
That came out of that was like next level. And usually his press office is pretty good at countering it, and they have been struggling with this one.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
So I don't know. It was funny when that video first came out and like asking about if she's going to run. One of the first things that I did is I sent it to Rachel and I was like, sweet baby Jesus, please let this happen.
Let it happen. But you know what? It's so far away. It'll be here before we know it, but also so much in politics can happen in 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So
there's plenty happening right now. I mean, now we got Iran is bubbling. Cuba's, I don't know what's going to happen there. I mean, it's just things are moving very fast. Okay. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap us up for today's episode of Rivera and Reeves. If this is your first time here, welcome. You have found your new favorite podcast. Make sure you hit that follow button wherever you are listening. We're on all major podcast apps. on YouTube. So go and subscribe over there because we're doing well over there, slowly but surely. And if you want this episode ad-free with video the moment I hit publish and access to this Saturday's live of Unfiltered, please consider becoming a paying subscriber. There is a link in the show notes. And if you're a subscriber to any of our platforms, shoot us a DM and we'll send you a discount code for your platform of choice. Yep. So, because we do this together, but we each individually also have our Substacks. Okay. So, any more thoughts, concerns, opinions with the State of the Union?
I mean, I actually am so excited. Well, I was sad that we didn't cover the after party or the party that was going on outside during the State of the Union with Joy Reid singing. But we can do that on Tuesday.
We'll cover it. Yeah. Or maybe we'll talk about it for a little bit on the Unfiltered too.
There was singing, guys, and there were people in frog suits. There were men wearing like furry costumes because there was more than one. There was more than one. Yeah. 5 happening. So there was just a lot of content. If you think we're crazy for saying that Democrats are having a hard time right now, we're here to convince you otherwise because we have video evidence.
It was so funny because during the Tuesday episode, Rachel was like, "There'll be singing," and we're like, "Absolutely,
there will be singing."
And Rachel went to bed, and I found a video of Joy Reid singing with someone. I don't even know who. Yeah, and I was like, "Rachel, here's your song."
There was singing. So anyways, we'll talk about it on Saturday, and you guys have to be there for Saturday. It's gonna be a great episode.
Yeah, it'll be good. So, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap us up. That's it. That's all we have time for. And here's a reminder that the media is trash and we have no tolerance for it. Okay, bye.
Bye.